Well, at the top of the show, we refer to the interesting relationship between the big three ethnic nationalities in Delta State against the backdrop of current tensions arising from INEC's delineation of electoral units in Warri. It seems that old animosities are again being resurrected because of this action, which some analysts and perhaps interested parties say is meant to impose one form of political domination or other. Joining us now to share the perspective of the Ikshekiris on the matter is a traditional title holder, Chief Brown Mene, the Ogwa Olusan of Warri, who represents His Royal Majesty, the Olu of Warri, Ogiame Atuwase III. Good to have you on the morning show this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Now, for decades, the Itsekiri people have felt marginalized when it came to political representation. How would you say this delineation by INEC, is going to either worsen or reinforce this feeling that has already been in existence?
Good morning to you, and thank you for the privilege of giving us a voice to speak here this morning. Really, truly, the words you have used describe very aptly what we are experiencing in our place. The Warri Kingdom had been on before there was Nigeria. We were well organized, and we were a people of our own. But of course, since from 1894, where we were made part of what eventually became Nigeria, we have also contributed our lot to the development of the country in terms of human contribution, as well as the resources that God has placed in the bowels of our land. This is to speak of particularly carbon, to speak of the gas and the carbon that we mine from the ground, apart from the sea resources, all of which contributes to the well-being of Nigeria. But unfortunately, because where we are, where majority headcount is an issue, a lot of the time we are being marginalized. Things that are ours were pushed aside and taken over by other people. And it gets to a point where, as it were, we have our back to the wall, but we cannot but scream out and to say, look, this is far too much. It must be remedied.
Would that be the position of the Shekiri as far as the delineation by INEC is concerned? INEC says that nothing is final, but of course we see that the Ijaws are jubilating, saying that this amounts to, a redress. It's like correcting the ills of the past, and they are happy that fairness has come finally. Are you now the one complaining? And if you are, what in specific terms do you have with what INEC is trying to do at this point?
Quite a number of things are wrong. Mm-hmm. In the first place, redelineation is something that the whole country is due for. Why single out only the Warri Federal Constituency, where we have only one representation at the House of Representatives? The Ijaws have their territory fully in their hands. There's no redelineation being done there. So are the Yorubas. So are everywhere in the rest of the country. Why single us out just for this? That's number one. Number two, we have never known, since from the presidency of Babangida, that ethnic nationality do not feature anymore in the electoral register. Neither do they feature when the census is taken. And so, delineation for electoral purposes should be based mainly on the population of the electoral register, because it is about people who are there and to vote, without designation of ethnic nationalities. But where in Warri Federal Constituency we have only one seat, but we have other people who live among us, as is to be expected. But for such people to now pop up their ethnic identity and want to insist that they must contend with us for the representation we should have. The Ijaws have theirs fully in their area, so are the Yorubas, as you indeed have everywhere else. Why now want to segregate the population of voters and designate those to be on ethnic nationality basis? In that, by so doing, you now give a people who have come amidst us and want to promote their ethnic identity to say that they will be the one to represent us in our own territory. How just is that? Now, generally speaking, we do not quarrel with the Supreme Court judgment to have the redelineation done.
Yes.
But there are injustices in the implementation of the judgment.
But have you complained to INEC?
We have.
Okay.
Number one, in 2003, we have 3 local governments that constitute the federal, the Warri federal constituency. Warri South local government, Warri North local government, and Warri Southwest local government. Like a bolt from the blue, INEC in 2003 surreptitiously redelineated the wards in Warri South local government. It used to be 10 wards, and they were based, and of course, because of where people congregate and live on, the Urhobos had just about 2% about 2 of the wards predominantly occupied by their people, and the rest being Ishekiri people, and others who have come, like the Hausas, the Igbos, and others who live in the urban part of the local government. They did that and surreptitiously brought the 2 wards that belong to the Urhobo-dominated areas and expanded that to become 6 wards. And the 8 wards where you have the predominance of Ishekiri people living, they compressed it to 6 wards. So it could now be easy to spin the narrative to say we're at par. 6 and 6, 12. We rose against this because this was illegally done, and the court ruled to say that it was illegal. They appealed against it at an appellate level. They could not pursue it any further, and so the judgment remained ours, that was a wrong thing for INEC to do. Now we got INEC to implement it. They refused to. All the elections they have been conducting since then is based on the illegal 12 wards, as opposed to resort into the 10 wards that are legal for that local government. So this time around, Warri South local government.
So you're saying that INEC, this is 20 years ago now, and you got the judgment in what year?
They refused to implement it.
They have refused to implement it?
They have refused to implement it, even though we wrote, and we had to go to court again to say, look, this judgment is there, please get INEC to implement it. And they swore on oath to come to court to say they are implementing it. But of course, when elections are conducted, you can gather all the materials of it and show the spread of it. We again showed in court to say that they are not implementing it.
Why do you think they're not implementing it?
Because they have people who have influenced them. The Urhobos have influenced them, the Ijaws have influenced them.
But Chief,
so as to manipulate what happens in our area.
But Chief, as things stand now in Warri South,
yes.
What INEC has released is that there will be 20 wards
yes.
in Warri South, 3 to the Ijaw,
yes.
8 to Ishekiri,
yes.
and 9 to Urhobo. Do you have a problem with that?
It's very obvious, isn't it? This is our homeland. This is where we belong to. This is our land in the country. They have theirs elsewhere, fully in their hands. Now, when you look at the ratio of the wards that are there, because the issue of the ward is that they are the ones who will bring up candidature. That's the issue. They will be the ones who will bring the candidature for the election, based on the wards. Now, in our own place, we put all this together now. Are we not now in minority in our own homeland? Would we be able to bring a candidate to represent us?
So
We cannot.
so what's next for
But
you?
what they have done,
Yes, sir.
for instance, the Ijaws had no ward in Warri South local government. They had none. This is the first time this is being created for them.
So this 3 for them is like a dash.
Indeed it is, because it is not based on electoral register population. Those areas they have designated for them. And secondly, what they have done is to harvest some areas from our area and in name give it to the Ijaws, award it to the Ijaws. So you go on the ground, you do not find it, but it's only on paper.
Historically, would you say the Warri Southwest local government area is Ishekiri, Ijo, like historically, or an Ishekiri area?
It's an Ishekiri area, and I can tell you historically, the Urhobos that you find there, the nucleus of the Urhobos that you find there are 3 brothers who were declared persona non grata in their home in Okpare, in Uele local government. And of course, they were expelled from the community. And in those days, no bicycle, so they trekked and came to Okere, where their aunt was the wife of the Olaraja of Okere, who took them in.
And that's in the Southwest region?
That's right.
Okay.
And they were allowed to stay and given a place to farm, so they could stay. That's the basis on which they were there. And every year during the festival of the community, they will undertake certain chores to express their gratitude for being so accommodated. It's only in the last 2 generations that they have challenged this. Not only challenge it, but they say they actually own the place.
Do you think?
And by so doing, they also bring Urhobos from different other areas and live there and populate it, and to say that they have a historical place there. The Ijaws also were never there, but they just keep coming. Like you have Hausas there, you have Igbos there. Of course, they live together. But these do not claim that the area they live in is Hausa land or Igbo land, except the Ijaws coming to say that. And it's only it's a graduation. They never used to have political representation in Warri South.
Do you believe that they should not have political representation?
I believe they should not, because the Igbos that are there, they are not seeking to promote their ethnic identity and to therefore suffocate us who own the place. They don't do that. The Hausas don't do that. The Sokos don't do that. Why would they just want to do that?
Yeah, but they are Deltans.
Yes, they are Deltans. Nobody say they are not Deltans. They should live there. We actually gave them the permission to live there. But when they live there, do not come to change it to say you actually own the place and not us who own the place. There are areas where they have gone into and changed the name of the communities from the name we gave to the communities initially to become Ijaws' names. Where do you do that?
All right, Chief, before we let you go, is this the position of the palace and are there political solutions?
This is a position not just of the palace. Of course, the palace stands for the entirety of our people. This is our position collectively. And of course, the solution is we have not, because we haven't laid back, neither have we kept silent. At every stage, we have made our complaints. And when we have only received deaf ears, we've gone to court. Because we recognize that our system is not violence. That just doesn't achieve anything. What we do instead is to approach things in a civilized manner. Go to the court, lay the facts out. We have gone to court repeatedly over these issues. Even when the court will rule in our favor, those who would implement it, because they are not our people, they could easily be influenced, because it's the outcome of what they do and how they perpetrate illegality against us. That's how we believe they are influenced.
Okay. Now, from land rights to oil revenue, this goes beyond politics. What are some economic implications of this delineation process? What impacts would they have, especially on the Ishekiri people?
The impact it will have is this. As I had said, representation, political representation, is based on the delineation. And the way that we play politics in Nigeria is such that it is the candidacy will emerge from the ward at the council level, for instance. And where the people will then say, we, this ethnic nationality, we are the ones to produce the candidature. Even though it is not their land. They are there as visitors. Nobody said they shouldn't be there. There is no reason why Ishekiri people in Lagos, for instance, of course there are a lot of Ishekiris here, to say that they would manipulate the situation in Lagos such that they are the ones who have a right as an ethnic nationality to produce the candidature that will represent them, represent a part of Lagos.
Yes, well,
It's absurd.
well, you know, there has been a lot of talk in Lagos about Lagos indigents actually not being able to represent the state, even in the House of Representatives. They're a minority themselves.
That's because of what we're now complaining about.
I think there will be a lot of...
And you see, we used to have 2 seats in the House of Representatives. It is through this manipulation, one was taken from us and given to the judge. We are left with only 1.
Wow.
And by this manipulation, if it stands, it means, therefore, we cannot even have representation at the House of Representatives anymore.
These are very serious issues.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Chief Brown. And
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
At the moment, we have again protested to INEC to say, look, address this thing, because what you have done cannot stand any logic. It's not based on facts on the ground.
All right.
I'm sure they would want to reply to your comments this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.